Hello all of you, welcome to my channel. In this video, we are going to study Moments book, class 9th, chapter name The Lost Child. This chapter is written by Mulk Raj Anand. So, first of all, we will talk about a writer. Mr. Mulk Raj Anand was an Indian writer in English, notable for his depiction of the lives of the poorer caste in traditional Indian society. He was an Indian and he was a famous writer. Now we will continue our chapter. A child goes to a fair with his parents. He is happy and excited and wants to the sweets and toys displayed there. A child went in a fair with his parents. He was very happy and so excited, and he wants the sweets and toys which were displayed there. So he told to his parents, buy toys for me and I need some sweets also. But his parents did not buy anything for little child. Why then does he refuse when someone else offer them to him? When some other person offer him toys and sweet, that time the little child refused to take them. It was the festival of spring. From the wintry sets of narrow Lance and Alice emerged a gaily clad humanity. A word Alice means a narrow passageway between or behind buildings. Here the spring means already we know the season of the year between winter and summer, when the weather gets warmer and plants begin to grow. Okay. And here the word clad means dress, wearing a particular type of clothing. Okay. It was the season of spring. The people of the village came out of their houses in colorful attire. Attire means clothes, and walked towards the fair. Some walked, some rode on horses, others sat being carried in bamboo and bullock carts. One little boy ran between his father's leg, brimming over with life and laughter. Some people were walking and some other were sitting on a horse or riding on a horse, and others sat and some being carried in bamboo, and some other people were sitting in bullock carts. One little boy ran between his father's leg, and here is a boy, he was running between his father's leg, brimming over with life and laughter. The little boy was so happy because he was going to fair with his parents. Come, child, come, called his parents as he lagged behind, fascinated by the toys in the shops that lined the way. Lagged behind means was left behind. Okay, and the word fascinated means attracted to, and lined by the way, here that were set up along the way. The child was attracted to the toys which were displayed at the various stalls, as he would be left behind. His parents would call him to come with them, but he was still watching the toys and still he is looking them. His parents would call him to come with them. He hurried towards his parents, his feet obedient to their call, his eyes still lingering on the receding toys as he came to where they had stopped to wait for him. The word lingering means lasting for a long time, and word receding means left behind as he walked ahead. He could not suppress the desire of his heart, even though he well knew the old cold star of refusal in their eyes. The child was obedient and would walk towards them on being called, but his eyes would keep on looking at the toys. Okay, and that he wanted. As he reached them, he could not control his desire to buy a toy. He was familiar to the reaction that they would give. He knew that they would stare him, indicating denial to buy him the toy. The child knew the emotionless way in which they would stare at him. I want that toy, he pleaded. Here, the child was unable to control his desire any longer. He said that he wanted to buy the toy. His father looked at him red-eyed in his familiar tyrant's way. The word tyrant means a cruel and oppressive ruler. The father's eyes grew red with anger. He looked at the child just like a cruel ruler who was trying to oppress him. His mother, melted by the free spirit of the day, was tender and giving him her finger to hold said, "Look, child, what is before you." The word melted means became tender and loving. So here the mother became emotional due to the cheerful mood. Lovingly she gave her finger to the child to hold and guided him to a place. She asked him to see what was in front of him. It was a flowering mustard field, pale like melting gold, as it swept across miles and miles of even land. The word pale means dull or colorless. There was a vast field full of bright yellow colored mustard flowers. They seemed like flowing streams of gold and were widespread. A group of dragon flies were whistling about their gaudy purple wings. Here the word dragon means a large animal with wings which can breathe fire. Here the word gaudy means very bright or decorated and therefore unpleasant. Intercepting the flight of a lone black bee or butterfly in search of sweetness from the flowers. The word intercepting means to stop or catch somebody. A group of dragonflies, black bee and butterflies buzzed around, sucking the nectar from the flowers. The child followed them in the air with his gaze. The word gaze means to look steadily for a long time, till one of them would still its wings and rest and he would try to catch it. The child looked at them as they flew around. When one of them sat somewhere, he tried to catch them, but the tiny creatures would fly away the next instant, but it would go fluttering, flapping up into the air. The word fluttering means to move or make something move quickly and lightly, and the word flapping means to move something up and down or from side to side, especially in the wind. When he had almost caught it in his hands, here the boy was running behind the butterflies, and the butterflies move up and down from side to side. When he had almost caught it in his hands, then his mother gave a cautionary call. The word cautionary means giving a warning. Come, child, come on to the footpath. When he was catching the butterflies and he was running behind the butterflies, that time his mother called him, come on to the footpath. He ran towards his parents gaily and walked abreast of them for a while, being, however, soon left behind, attracted by the little insects and worms along the footpath that were teeming out from their hiding places to enjoy the sunshine. Here the word gaily means happy or cheerfully, and the word abreast means next to or level with somebody, something, and going to the same direction. The child ran towards his parents. He walked next to them, but after few steps he stopped to see the insects who were coming out of the soil. Once again the child was left behind, because the child was watching little insects and worms, and he was attracted by the little insects and worms along the footpath. Come, child, come, his parents called from the shade of a grove where they had seated themselves on the edge of a well. He ran towards them. The word grove means a small group of trees, especially one of a particular. The parents called him. They sat next to a well under the shady trees. The child once again ran and joined his parents. His parents was sitting near a well. Then boy ran to join his parents. A shower of young flowers fell upon the child as he entered the grove. Here the word grove means a small group of trees, especially of one particular. And forgetting his parents, he began to gather the raining petals in his hands. The word petals means one of the thin, soft, colored parts of a flower. But word Lu means used to draw attention to an interesting or amazing event. He heard the cooing of doves and ran towards his parents, shouting, the dove, the dove. The raining petals dropped from his forgotten hands. When the child entered the shady forested area, he was welcomed by a shower of flowers. He forgot his parents and started collecting the petals that had fallen. Just then he heard the cooing of doves and was excited to see them. He started chasing the birds, and in the process the petals fell from his hands. Which petals he have collected in his hand, that petals fell down. It means that the boys got attracted towards the next thing. He forgot what he had been doing earlier. Come, child, come, they called to the child, who had now gone running in wild capers around the banyan tree. The word capers means skip or dance about in a lovely or playful way. And gathering him up, they took the narrow, winding footpath which led to the fair through the mustard fields. The word winding means with bends or curves in it. The parents called the child, who was running and playing around a banyan tree. They lifted him and walked down a narrow, twisting lane through which they crossed the mustard fields and reached the fair. As they neared the village, the child could see many other footpaths full of throngs converging to the whirlpool of the fair. A word throngs means a large crowd of people. The word converging means gathering. As they were about to reach the fair, the child saw huge crowds of the people walking from all directions towards the fair. The dense crowd scared him. He stepped back for a while, but the next moment he got attracted to the mind-boggling crowd of humanity. A sweetmeat seller hawked gulab jamun, rasgulla, barfi, jalebi at the corner of the entrance, and a crowd pressed around his counter at the foot of an architecture of many colored sweets. At the entrance of the fair, to one corner, a sweet meat seller had set up a shop. He was selling various sweets like gulab jamun, rasgulla, barfi, and jalebi, decorated with the leaves of silver and gold. The sweets were displayed at a different heights and were covered with the foils of gold and silver. The child stared open-eyed, and his mouth watered for the barfi that was his favorite sweet. The boy's mouth watered when he sighted his favorite barfi. "I want that barfi," he slowly murmured, but he half knew as he begged that his pay would not be heeded because his parents would say he was greedy. He expressed his desire to get one in a low voice because he knew that his request would be refuted by his parents. They would say that he was greedy for the barfi. So, without waiting for an answer, he moved on. As he did not expect that his demand would be fulfilled, he walked further. A flower seller hawked a garland of gulmohar, a garland of gulmohar. The child seemed irresistibly drawn. The next stall was a flower seller. He announced that he was selling garlands of gulmohar flowers. He went towards the basket where the flowers lay heaped and half murmured. The child wanted one of those. He walked towards the basket of flowers and again announced his desire to have one in a low voice, but he knew his parents would refuse to buy him those flowers because he knew that his demand would not be fulfilled, because they would say that they were cheap. So without waiting for an answer, he moved on. The boy knew that they would refuse to buy him the flowers as they would say that they were cheap. Again the boy walked ahead without expecting a reply from his parents. A man stood holding a pole with yellow, red, green, and purple balloons flying from it. The next thing that the child came across was a balloon seller selling balloons of different colors of the rainbow. The child was simply carried away by the rainbow glory of their silken colors, and he was filled with an overwhelming desire to possess them all. The boy was attracted to the shining colors of the balloons and wanted to have them all. But he well knew his parents would never buy him the balloons because they would say he was too old to play with such toys. So he walked on further. Boy knew very well that his parents would not buy the balloons for him, as they would say, or put a reason that he was too old to play with them. So the child walked further. Okay. A snake charmer stood playing a flute to a snake which coiled itself in a basket. The child moved on and he saw that a snake charmer was playing a flute and the snake was twisting its neck to the music. The snake had coiled itself in a basket and had raised its head out. Its head raised in a graceful bend like the neck of a swan. It went and moved its neck gracefully like a swan. Okay. While the music stole into its invisible ears like the gentle rippling of an invisible waterfall. It seemed that the music of the flute was heard by the snake's invisible ears and created the effect of a waterfall on it because it swayed its neck in a similar way. The child went towards the snake charmer, but knowing his parents had forbidden him to hear such coarse music as the snake charmer played, he proceeded further. Here, boy wanted to see the snake, so he walked toward the snake charmer, but as his parents had warned him to remain away from the unpleasant music played by such men, he walked further from that place. Boy soon understood that his parents forbidden or they warned not to go such unpleasant music played by such men. So boy soon moved from that place. There was a roundabout in full swing, men, women and children carried away in a whirling motion. Then the little boy saw the roundabout swing. It was full of men, women and children. They were sitting in a roundabout swing and they were enjoying the ride, shrieked and cried with a dizzy laughter. The word shriek means to move a short, loud noise in a high, and the word dizzy means feeling as if everything is turning round and that you might fall. The child watched then intently and then he made a bold request. I want to go on the roundabout. Please, father, mother. The boy watched the people on the roundabout and they were enjoying roundabout. Now the boy can't stop his desire to sit in a roundabout swing. He requested to his parents and then with a lot of courage expressed his desire to go on the roundabout. When the little child saw the people, they were enjoying a ride in a swing, so he also told to his parents that he wanted to go on the roundabout. There was no reply. He turned to look at his parents. They were not there ahead of him. He turned to look on either side. They were not there. He looked behind. There was no sign of them. When the boy parents didn't reply, because they were not there ahead of him. He turned to look on either side. They were not there. He looked behind. There was no sign of them. Boy was looking here and there, but he didn't get his parents anywhere. A full of deep cry rose within his dry throat, and with a sudden jerk of his body, he ran from where he stood. The boy cried loudly, jerked his body, and ran here and there, calling out for his parents. Boy's throat became dry. He was running here and there, and he was searching his parents, and he was crying, but he is not able to find his parents. The boy ran that place also where he stood. The boy was crying in real fear. Mother, father, tears rolled down from his eyes. Hot and fierce, his flushed face was convulsed with fear. Panic stricken, he ran to one side first, then to the other, hither and thither, in all directions, knowing not where to go. Mother, father, he wailed. His yellow turban came untied, and his clothes became muddy. The boy was wandering here and there, and he was moving his body here and there. He was searching his parent, but he couldn't find. He was angry and aggressive to find out his parents, but he couldn't. The boy was moving here and there, and he was running this side and that side, so his face became red. The boy became serious, and he was unpleasant. The boy was cried or complained in a loud voice, high voice, father, mother. The boy was full of fear, and tears started rolling down his cheeks as he wailed and ran. His turban opened, and his clothes became muddy. Having run to and fro in a range of running for a while, he stood defeated, his cries suppressed into sobs. After some time, he gave up. The loud cries turned into mild sobs. Now the boy was standing in a one place. All the people were looking at him. At little distance on the green grass, he could see, through his filmy eyes, man and woman talking. He tried to look intently among the patches of bright yellow clothes, but there was no sign of his father and mother among these people, who seemed to laugh and talk just for the sake of laughing and talking. The boy was standing in a one place, and he is able to see lot of people were standing and talking and tried to find his parents were among them. The laughter and the talks of the people were meaningless for the little child. He was simply searching for his parents. Those men and women were standing there, they are talking each other, and they are trying to find out the boy's parents. He ran quickly again, this time to a shrine, to which people seemed to be a crowding every little inch of space. Here was a congested with man, but he ran through people's leg, his little sob lingering. Mother, father, the word shrine means a place that is important to a particular person or group of people for religious reason. We can say temple. The word sob means to cry while taking in sudden, sharp breaths, to speaking while you are crying. Now in this time the boy ran quickly towards the shrine where that lot of people were there wandering here and there, and there is a place where is a crowding. There is a not a even space of inch to stand. That area is so congested, but the boy ran through the people's leg, his little sob lingering mother father. Only he is calling to his father and mother. He is calling his parents in a sob lingering voice near the entrance to the temple. However, the crowd became very thick. Men jostled each other, heavy men with flashing, murderous eyes and heavy shoulders. The poor child struggled to thrust a way between their feet, but knocked to and fro by their brutal movements, he might have been trampled underfoot had he not screamed at the highest pitch of his voice, "Father, mother!" The boy ran towards a temple which was crowded with people. He ran through the legs of men, calling out of his parents. The crowd was pushing each other as he neared the entrance of the temple. The boy got scared of huge strong men who stared people with their murderous eyes and pushed them with their strong and big shoulders. The boy could have been crushed under the feet of men had his cries not been heard by a man in the crowd. The man lifted the child up in his arms. "How did you get here, child? Whose baby are you?" the man asked as he steered clear of the mass. Here, that man was asking to the boy who had lifted up in his arms, "How did you get here, child? Whose baby are you? How you came here? There is a too much lot of crowd were there. How you came here? Whose baby you are? Where is your father, mother?" the man was asking to the child. The child wept more bitterly than ever now and only cried, "I want my mother, I want my father." Now the boy also started the loudly he cried, and he is weeping in this time. He is asking, "I want my father, I want my mother." The man tried to soothe him by taking him to the roundabout. "Will you have a ride on the horse?" The man tried to soothe him by taking him to the roundabout. The man took the boy near the roundabout that the boy should calm down and he should stop weeping and crying. "Will you have a ride on the horse?" he gently asked as he approached the ring. When the man and the boy reached near the ring and he asked to the boy, "Will you ride on the horse?" the child's throat tore into a thousand shrill sobs and he only shouted, "I want my mother, I want my father." Here the again boy started sudden crying and weeping more bitterly or loudly, "I want my father, I want my mother." The man headed towards the place where the snake charmer still played on the flute to the swaying cobra. "Listen to that nice music, child," he pleaded. In this time, the man took the boy near the snake charmer. Still he was playing on the flute to the swaying cobra. "Listen to that nice music," man told child, but the child shut his ears with his fingers and shouted his double-pitched strain, "I want my mother, I want my father." Now the boy put his fingers inside his ears and he closed his ears. He don't want to listen any kinds of music. And in this time the boy shouted his double-pitched strained voice, "I want my mother, I want my father." The man took him near the balloons, thinking the bright colors of the balloons would distract the child's attention and quieten him. "Would you like a rainbow colored balloon?" he persistently asked. In this time, the man took the boy near the balloon sellers. There were a lot of colored balloons, so he was thinking that it would distract the child's attention and quieten him. In this time, the man asked the boy, "Which balloons you need?" "Rainbow colors balloon you need." The child turned his eyes from the flying balloons and just sobbed, "I want my mother, I want my father." The boy turned his face from there beside the balloons were flying, and he sobbed. He shouted once again, "I want my mother, I want my father." He don't want to look at the balloons also, so he turned his face other side of the balloons. The man is still trying to make the child happy, bore him to the gate where the flower seller sat. "Look, can you smell those nice flowers, child? Would you like a garland to put around your neck?" Now the man is trying to make happy to the boy, so he took the boy near the flower seller. Then he told to boy, "You can smell the nice flowers." And the man is asking to little child, "And would you like to put a garland around your neck?" The child turned his nose away from the basket and reiterated his sob, "I want my mother, I want my father." The little boy, he turned his nose away from the basket where the flower basket was kept. He turned his nose away and he again shouted and started crying, "I want my mother, I want my father." Thinking to humor his disconsolate charge by a gift of sweets, the man took him to the counter of the sweet shop. "What sweets would you like, child?" he asked. The man took to the little child in the next shop, that is a sweet shop. Then he told to boy, "Which sweet you need, just you take from here." The child turned his face from the sweet shop and only sobbed, "I want my mother, I want my father." But the child turned his face from the sweet shop. Then again he started crying and he shouted, "I want my mother, I want my father." So this chapter is finished. I hope all of you understood in a better way. And here, by this story, we can understand that always we have to respect our parents. Whatever they are saying, we have to follow them, and we have to understand that always our parents always trying their best for us. Whatever our need, they are trying to fulfill our need, and always we have to obey our parents. Whatever they are saying, that is a right or that is a wrong, always we have to follow our parents. Okay, bye, then see you in the next video.